The emergency channel crackled to life at 0300 hours, dragging Queen Amara from her first decent sleep in weeks. She sat upright in the darkness of her quarters, her 4 eyes adjusting instantly as the holographic display materialized above her wrist communicator. The face that appeared belonged to Admiral Korvax, and the tension in his features made her pulse quicken. "Your Majesty, we have a situation. The human prototype has gone dark." Amara felt her chest tighten. The Valkyrie. She'd argued against allowing the humans to build it in the first place, but the Council had been split. Humanity had been provisional members for only 5 years, still proving themselves after the bloody border wars that had introduced them to galactic society. A species that had clawed its way from a single world to the stars in less than 2 centuries, leaving a trail of defeated enemies who'd underestimated them. "Define dark," she said, her voice steady despite the fear coiling in her gut. "Complete communications blackout. The test zone has been quarantined. No signals in or out. Your Majesty, the Council is convening in 1 hour. They're calling for immediate sanctions. Some are demanding we send a fleet." Amara closed her eyes. This was exactly what she'd feared. The humans had signed the Predator Weapons Treaty after the wars, agreeing to limit their military development, but they'd found a loophole, arguing that the Valkyrie was a defensive research vessel. She'd seen the preliminary reports, the vague descriptions of unconventional propulsion systems and spatial manipulation technology. Nothing concrete, nothing that violated the letter of the treaty. But everyone knew humans didn't build anything without teeth. "I want to meet with the lead designer," Amara said, "before the council session." "Set it up, Your Majesty." "Protocol suggests—" "I don't care about protocol, Admiral. If we're about to start another war, I want to look the architect in the eyes first." The meeting took place in a neutral station orbiting the dead moon of Carthus Prime. Amara arrived with a full security detail, half expecting to meet some scarred military commander or cold-eyed weapons specialist. Instead, the human who stood waiting in the conference room was a woman barely past her 3rd decade, wearing simple civilian clothes and carrying a data tablet like she was about to give a university lecture. "Queen Amara," the woman said, bowing slightly. "I'm Dr. Elena Foster. Thank you for agreeing to meet." Amara studied her carefully. Elena had dark skin and calm brown eyes that showed no fear, no deception. Her hair was pulled back in a practical knot, and her hands were steady. This was the mind behind the Valkyrie? This quiet scientist? "Your ship has the Council preparing for war, Dr. Foster. That's why I asked for this meeting." Elena gestured to the chairs. "Please, sit. I need to explain something about the Valkyrie that the reports don't cover." Amara remained standing. "Then explain. Quickly." Elena activated her tablet and a hologram of the Valkyrie appeared between them. It was smaller than Amara had imagined, sleek and dark, with none of the aggressive angles of human warships. It looked almost organic, like something grown rather than built. "The Council thinks we've built a weapon," Elena said. "They're wrong. We've built a lesson. That's a distinction without meaning, Doctor. Is it?" Elena met her gaze directly, and Amara saw something unsettling in those eyes. Not anger, not aggression, just absolute certainty. "Your Majesty, humanity has spent 10,000 years studying predators, not just hunting them or fighting them, understanding them. The way they think, the way they wait, the way they know exactly when to strike and when to hold back. I've read your species' history, Dr. Foster. You've spent 10,000 years being predators to each other." "Exactly." Elena's smile was sad. "We know violence in ways the Council species don't. We've refined it, philosophized about it, built entire cultures around the art of controlled aggression. And do you know what the ultimate lesson of all that study is?" Amara waited. "The most dangerous predator is the one that doesn't need to attack." The Queen felt a chill run down her spine. "You're saying the Valkyrie is harmless?" "I'm saying it's something the galaxy needs to see. But to understand it, you need to experience it yourself." Elena's expression remained calm, almost gentle. "Come with me to the test zone. Board the ship. Let me show you what we've really built." Every instinct Amara had screamed at her to refuse, but she hadn't survived 40 years of council politics by avoiding risks. She'd survived by taking calculated ones. "If this is a trap, then you'll have your war," Elena finished. But it's not. I give you my word as a scientist and as a human. 12 hours later, Amara found herself strapped into a human-designed crash seat as the transport shuttle approached the test zone. Her security detail had objected violently to this plan. Admiral Korvax had nearly resigned in protest, but Amara had made her choice. If humans were about to shatter galactic peace, she needed to understand why. The Valkyrie hung in the void like a sleeping predator. Up close, it was even stranger than the hollows had suggested. The hull seemed to absorb light, and its shape defied easy categorization. Not quite a sphere, not quite angular, as if it existed slightly outside normal geometry. Elena piloted the shuttle herself, guiding them into a docking port that opened like a mouth. Once inside, Amara noticed the ship's interior was surprisingly minimal. No weapon stations. No tactical displays, just smooth corridors and a central chamber dominated by a spherical control interface. "Where's your crew?" Amara asked. "Don't need one. The Valkyrie is designed for a single operator." Elena moved to the sphere, placing her hands on its surface. "Your Majesty, before I activate the systems, I need you to understand something. This ship has no railguns, no missiles, no energy weapons of any kind. Then what does it have? Gravity." Elena's fingers moved across the sphere, and suddenly Amara felt it, a subtle shift in the fabric of space around them, like reality taking a breath. Humanity discovered how to create controlled gravitational fields, not the weak artificial gravity every species uses. Real gravitational manipulation, the kind that holds galaxies together and tears them apart. The view screen activated, showing the empty space around them. But as Elena continued to work, Amara saw something impossible. The stars were bending. Space itself was curving around the Valkyrie like water around a stone. "We can create gravity wells on demand," Elena explained, her voice taking on the tone of a teacher. "Increase or decrease gravitational force in precise locations. Do you understand what that means?" Amara's mind raced. "You could crush a ship, pull it apart, trap entire fleets, without even being detected until it's too late. This technology could end every conflict in the galaxy before it starts, or it could make humanity unstoppable." Elena turned to face her. "That's why I needed you here. The Council needs to understand that we know exactly what we've built, and we know why it terrifies you. Then why build it at all?" Before Elena could answer, alarms screamed throughout the ship. The view screen lit up with new contacts. Ships, dozens of them, dropping out of faster-than-light travel in a coordinated attack pattern. "Kryn Raiders," Elena said, her voice flat. She pulled up tactical data with practiced efficiency. 53 vessels, heavy arms. They must have been tracking our shuttle. Amara's blood ran cold. The Kryn were the nightmare of the outer colonies. Pirates, slavers, and murderers who preyed on anyone weak enough to be caught alone. 53 ships against one unarmed prototype. "Call for help," Amara ordered. "The Council fleet is 3 hours away. We'd be debris in 20 minutes. Elena's hands moved over the sphere, and Amara felt the Valkyrie wake up around them. The ship's power systems thrummed to life, but there was no sound of weapons charging. "Your Majesty, I'm going to give you a choice. We can run and hope your reinforcements arrive before we're caught. Or you can let me show you what humanity has learned about being a predator." The Kryn fleet was already spreading out, cutting off escape routes. Their lead ship broadcast a simple message in broken standard. "Surrender human ship. Give us the Queen. Live, maybe." Amara looked at Elena, at this quiet scientist who'd built something the galaxy feared. And she made the same choice she'd made before. "Show me." Elena's smile was small and sad. "Computer, initiate lesson protocol. Full demonstration mode." The Valkyrie didn't move, didn't activate shields or weapons. It just hung there in the void as the Kryn fleet closed in. Their weapons charging, their pilots likely laughing at the easy prey they'd found. "What are you doing?" Amara demanded. "Waiting." Elena's eyes never left the tactical display. "The first rule of being a predator, Your Majesty, is patience. You don't strike when your prey expects it. You wait until they've committed. Until they've shown you everything they have. The Kryn ships opened fire. Plasma bolts and kinetic rounds filled the space around them, and Amara braced for impact. But the shots curved away, bending around the Valkyrie like rain around an invisible umbrella. Gravitational deflection, Elena explained calmly. Basic application. Now watch what happens when we stop being defensive. Her hands danced across the sphere, and Amara felt reality shift. On the view screen, the Kryn fleet suddenly lurched. Ships that had been flying in formation started drifting off course, their pilots fighting controls that no longer responded properly. Then Amara understood. Elena wasn't attacking them. She was creating tiny gravity wells around each ship, invisible tethers pulling them in directions they didn't want to go. The Kryn fleet commander barked orders, and his ships tried to scatter, but everywhere they turned, they found their trajectory altered. Elena was conducting them like an orchestra, using gravity to push and pull, herd and corral. The raiders began firing wildly, hitting nothing, wasting ammunition on empty space while their fuel depleted. Second rule of being a predator, Elena said, her voice never rising above conversational level. Economy of force. Why use your own energy when your prey can exhaust themselves? Two Kryn ships collided, their courses pulled into intersection by gravitational manipulation so subtle they never saw it coming. Explosions blossomed in the void. The fleet's formation collapsed into chaos as ships scrambled to avoid their own teammates, burning thrust in every direction, creating the perfect conditions for what came next. Elena brought her hands together on the sphere, and the Valkyrie sang. Amara felt it through her entire body. A thrumming vibration that resonated in her bones as the ship's full power engaged. On the view screen, invisible forces became visible as the fabric of space itself distorted. Elena had created a three-dimensional gravitational maze, and the Kryn fleet was caught in its center. Ships spiraled inward, unable to escape the pulling force that drew them tighter and tighter together. Some tried to jump to faster than light, but their drives couldn't engage in the distorted space-time. Others fired their weapons at the Valkyrie, but every shot curved away, caught in the gravitational currents, and redirected back toward the fleet itself. Third rule, Elena said quietly. Make your enemy defeat themselves. The Kryn ships crashed into each other in slow motion, pulled by irresistible force into an ever-tightening cluster. Metal screamed. Reactors overloaded. And through it all, Elena's expression never changed. She wasn't angry, wasn't excited. She was simply demonstrating a principle, like a professor at a lectern. The last Kryn ship tried desperately to escape, its engines burning at maximum thrust. For a moment it seemed like it might break free. Then Elena made a small gesture, and a massive gravity well appeared directly in its path. The ship crumpled like paper, its structure unable to withstand the force. It disappeared into the well, compressed into something too small to see. Then, silence. The Valkyrie hung alone in space, surrounded by debris and dissipating energy signatures. 53 ships reduced to wreckage, and not a single shot fired from the human vessel. Elena's hands left the sphere, and the gravitational fields dissipated. She turned to Amara, and the Queen saw something profound in her eyes. Not pride in the destruction, something closer to sorrow. Do you understand now? Elena asked. Amara's voice came out as a whisper. You've weaponized the fundamental force of the universe. We've demonstrated mastery over it. There's a difference. Elena moved to the viewport, looking out at the debris. Your Majesty, humanity didn't build the Valkyrie to conquer the galaxy. We built it because we needed the Council to understand something crucial. We know what we are. We know what we're capable of. We've spent our entire history exploring the depths of violence, and we've gotten very, very good at it. Then why show restraint? Because the ultimate expression of predatory evolution isn't the ability to kill, it's the wisdom to choose not to. Elena turned back to her. Every species in the Council looks at humanity and sees barbarians, warmongers, primitives, who got lucky with technology. And maybe they're right. But what they don't see is that we've learned lessons from 10,000 years of fighting ourselves. We know that the strongest don't survive by destroying everything around them. They survive by knowing when to hunt and when to protect. Amara felt something shift in her understanding. The Valkyrie is a message. A final one. If humanity is ever truly threatened, if any species tries to wipe us out or enslave us, this is what we're capable of. Not conventional war. Not ship-to-ship combat. Complete spatial dominance. We can make your fleets irrelevant. We can turn your own weapons against you. We can reshape the battlefield itself until resistance is impossible. Elena's voice remained calm, but Amara heard the steel underneath. But we don't want to. We want to join the Council as equals. We want to share this technology for peaceful purposes. We want to protect the galaxy together. And if the Council refuses, then we disappear back to our borders, and we wait. And if anyone comes for us, they'll learn the same lesson the Kryn just learned. The difference is, we'll give the Council a choice. The Kryn didn't get one. The shuttle ride back to Karthus Station was silent. Amara's mind churned with the implications of what she'd witnessed. The technology alone would revolutionize everything from space travel to planetary engineering. But weaponized, it would make conventional military power obsolete. The council session was chaos. Representatives from 24 species shouted accusations, demanded sanctions, called for immediate military action against humanity. Amara sat through it all, her hands folded, her expression neutral. She let them exhaust themselves, just as Elena had let the Kryn exhaust themselves. Finally, when the chamber fell silent, she stood. "I have seen the Valkyrie," she announced. "I have witnessed its capabilities firsthand." The chamber erupted again. Questions flew from every direction. She raised a hand for silence. The ship is everything we feared and nothing we expected. Humanity has developed technology that could end any conflict before it begins. They could dominate this galaxy if they chose to. She paused, meeting the eyes of each council member in turn. But they won't. Because the most important thing I learned today is not what humans can do. It's what they choose not to do. Your Majesty, Ambassador Kelrad of the Sistine Collective interrupted. You cannot possibly suggest we simply accept this threat. It's not a threat, Ambassador. It's a lesson. One humanity is offering to teach us peacefully, or one we can learn the hard way. Amara's voice carried the weight of her 40 years of service. I propose we grant humanity full council membership, effective immediately. We grant them access to all scientific exchanges and military alliances, and in return, they share the gravitational manipulation technology for peaceful applications only. That's insane! That's survival, Amara shot back, because the alternative is forcing humanity back behind their borders, where they'll continue developing weapons we can't imagine until the day someone pushes them too far. And then we'll all learn exactly what a predator species can do when it stops choosing restraint. The vote was close, closer than it should have been. But when the count finished, humanity had its council seat. 3 days later, Amara received a personal message from Dr. Elena Foster. It contained only 2 sentences and a set of coordinates. Thank you for understanding. If you're ever interested in seeing what else we chose not to build, these coordinates will bring you to Project Nightfall. Amara deleted the message immediately, concerned. Some lessons, she decided, were better left unlearned. The galaxy would adapt to humanity's presence. They would learn to trust, or at least to coexist. And somewhere in the back of every species' collective memory, they would remember the lesson of the Valkyrie. The most dangerous predator is the one that doesn't need to attack. The wisest predator is the one that chooses not to. And humanity, born from a world of apex predators competing against each other for millions of years, had finally evolved past the need to prove their dominance. They just needed everyone else to know they could, if they had to. That knowledge, Amara reflected as she filed her final report, might be the only thing that kept the peace. Fear wasn't ideal. But understanding was. Understanding that humanity had looked into the abyss of their own violent nature, had mastered it completely, and had chosen to step back. The galaxy would learn to live with its newest predators, because the alternative was learning why they'd earned that title in the first place. And that was a lesson no one could afford. In the darkness between stars, the Valkyrie drifted on silent patrol, a reminder carved in gravity and patience. Humanity had taken its place among the Council, not through conquest or submission, but through the most terrifying demonstration of all, the power to destroy, coupled with the wisdom to protect. Queen Amara looked out at the stars from her quarters that night and allowed herself a small smile. The humans had their seat. The galaxy had its peace. And somewhere in the void, Dr. Elena Foster was probably already working on the next impossible thing. The next lesson the universe needed to learn. Some species reached for the stars through exploration, others through trade or diplomacy. Humanity had reached them through 10,000 years of learning to be the perfect predators, and then choosing to be something more. That, Amara decided, was the most human thing of all.